Dear participants, very good evening. We will start the meeting by 6 o'clock. I'll repeat. We will start the workshop by 6 o'clock. Thank you. Dear participants, very good evening. This is Bennett. And so, if you want to record the session, you are free to record the session from your end. I will repeat. If you want to record the session, you are free to record the session in your desktop or in your laptop. We will give you access to record the entire session. I will repeat again. Dear participants, those who want to record the session for the education purpose, you are free to record. We will give the access to everyone to record accordingly. Okay. Yes. So good evening, dear participants. Am I audible?
Good
Yes,
evening,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes. So thank you so much. Welcome you all for the second day International Research Methodology Workshop on proposal writing for the funded projects. I hope you enjoyed the yesterday's session. So as per the request given by all the participants, the recordings will be sent to you after the workshop is done. So today we are having one more legend in the field of proposal writing. So Professor Subhash sir is there. So today he'll be talking about the second aspect. So since we have given the beautiful syllabus, this is we are not conducting the workshop for the sake of organizing a workshop. We used to give the detailed proposal to our convener sir, Dr. Sanjay Tiwari sir. He will be evaluating all those things, and then only we are supposed and we are allowed to move further. So we have prepared all the syllabus systematically as well as very carefully to move further to write regarding the proposal writing. Sincerely welcoming you all I hope you all enjoyed yesterday's session. So today, let me hand over the session to our resource person for the day two. He'll be handling the session as like yesterday. Once the session is done, we will be open the floor for discussion, requesting all to uh, study as much as you can. Okay. The main concern, the basic thing of this workshop is everyone has to do write a research proposal by their own. Okay. Nowadays, people started keeping various consultancies, research agencies started like anything to cheat the educated people. So, being in the field of academician, we don't want to do that. That is the only thing we are teaching our level best to all the PhD scholars, faculty members, and also other academicians to in the process of proposal writing. So without taking much time, the time is 6. We are supposed to start by exact 6 o'clock. So we will start at the right time. Without taking much time, let me hand over the session to the resource person. He will be taking care now. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Bennett. Am I audible?
You're completely audible, sir. You're audible.
Oh, thank you so much. So I welcome all the participants, and I first of all I express my gratitude to Dr. Sanjay Tiwari for inviting me to deliver session on literature review. So writing literature review. I hope that by the end of this session we'll have a better understanding on writing literature review, because it's very relative and very complicated, but we just need to have a scientific approach to write literature review. First of all, when we start, all of you, the PhD research scholars and the academicians for last few years have been going through this particular term, literature review. But the point is, whether for your research proposal or for any piece of research writing, is that a concept of uh, literature or writing the literature review is clear. First of all, you know, uh, we just need to understand what is a literature review, and then how to structure it, and then there are various aspects of writing literature review that I would be talking, and I would really appreciate if there is any query or any doubt, you may straight away raise it. uh, I would like to quote Elizabeth Kostova. Elizabeth Kostova says that a literature review is a journey. Now you just go through the and try to sensitize with each words. A literature review is a journey through the landscape of existing knowledge, with each source providing a new perspective or insight. Okay, Elizabeth Kostova says a literature review is a journey through the landscape of existing knowledge, with each source providing a new perspective or insight. So, this is one of the, I would just request to mute, everybody, because I can hear some noises coming out.
No, sir, it's a technical issue, sir. We are working on it. You can continue, sir.
Oh, there is technical issue. Okay.
Yeah. Now you can continue, sir. You can continue, please.
I'm audible, na?
Sir, you're completely audible, sir.
Okay. So, with this broad uh, quotes of Elizabeth Kostova, let's try to understand what is a literature review. Okay. Now, there are various perspectives, my dear friends. A literature review is a review of critical points of current knowledge. So whatever the existing knowledge on a particular aspect or research problem that you have opted for, so that is a kind of critical points of current knowledge. it is also a comprehensive survey of publications. So it's a kind of, searching and researching and survey of the publications. That Acha, by the way, uh, publications I mentioned, what comes under this term literature review. Literature review includes, my dear friends, I know that you may be aware about, but literature review includes books, journals, conference papers, thesis, dissertations, bibliographies, maps, internet, index, audiovisual materials, electronic databases, government reports, magazine, newspaper, etc. Even gray literature, which is, information that is produced at all levels of, government, academia, business, and industry in electronic and print formats, and not controlled by commercial publishing. So literature review, that what you call, include all such type of sources. Huh? So now these different sources, what we do actually through literature review, that is, we try to review the critical points of existing knowledge. We also try to see the comprehensive, we do the comprehensive survey of publications. Then through literature review, we try to summarize and interpret of the research findings on a particular thing. I'll explain that literature review is not merely summarizing the things. It also talks about synthesizing and other aspects. But through literature review, what we try to do, what we intend to summarize or synthesize and interpret the research findings related to a particular research problem. you know Again, literature review is also a process and documentation of the what you call the relevant research literature. So in nutshell, I would like to provide you the gist of literature review. What actually is it? uh, Literature review is a summary. uh, it is a recap of the important information of the source, but a synthesis. Synthesis. What is synthesis? Synthesis is a reorganization or a reshuffling of that information. So whatever the existing information that we get from the existing literature, when we try to reorganize or reshuffle, that is, we try to synthesize. So it might have a new interpretation of old material, or combine new with old interpretation. So in the process of you know literature review is the most important thing, because the more you do the extensive literature review, the more clarity that you get on the subject or the research problem. So extensive literature review that helps you to understand the research gap and so many other things. So in the process of extensive literature review, what actually you do, you may give a new interpretation of old material, or combine new with old interpretation, or it might trace the intellectual progression of the field, including major debates. And depending on the situation, the literature review may evaluate the sources and advise the reader on the most pertinent or relevant. So you understand that literature review is done. What is literature review is clear. Then literature review is done to enhance our understanding on any chosen area of research problem, to enhance our understanding. But at the same time, we may also reorganize or reshuffle, because why do we any research problem is done to meet the challenges or the needs of the contemporary time. So we need to understand in the existing perspective. So that is why there are basic perspectives, there are basic purpose need of doing literature review. So through literature review, at times we also demonstrate our familiarity with the research problems. So as I mentioned, the more you do literature review, the more you understand your research problem. Because any research, any good research, the gist of a good research output, that depends on the clarity of the research problem, and the clarity of research problem precisely depends on the extensive and exhaustive literature review. So without doing it, once you do literature review, you demonstrate your familiarity with the research problem that you have chosen for. Then you determine what has already been written. You also, in the process of literature review, you determine what has already been written on a particular topic, place, study, person, problem, whatever it is. So what has already been determined, you also throw light on that, and then you show how your research addresses that gap. You talk about all the work that has been done, and also then you talk that what is the gap, where is the gap, and how you are coming up. And then in the process of understanding this, you develop that theoretical framework through literature review. So whether you get the clarity of your research problem, or you develop any theoretical base of your research problem, or you decide about the methodology of your research problem, I mean, all such you know uh, things, when you are writing a research proposal, so all such things that depends on the extensive literature review. And I repeat that if you're writing a research proposal, and if there is no clarity of the problem in general, or the research, the broad you know uh, problem that you have chosen, so that clarity, that depends on the kind of literature review that you have done. uh, so the literature review is done to support your research problems, uh, you know uh, on the theoretical ground. So what theory, then the concepts, it also provides an overview of the key concepts. And then it also helps you to decide about your methodology. And it also, by and large, it provides that background in which you are talking about a particular research problem or proposal. Now, what styles should we follow for writing literature review? Uh, this we need to understand, because we talk about what is a literature review. Then we also try to understand the need for writing literature review, and why do we do literature review. Now we'll try to understand the style, the style, or the approach that we should have. Like you know uh, in the humanities, the authors might include more argumentative and interpretative approach. The most interest, I mean, it is believed that the most interesting literature reviews are often written as arguments. But my dear friend, it entirely depends the area that you belong to. It depends on the kind of research problem or the research proposal that you have opted for. uh, in social sciences, generally the literature review, any literature review which has the style of argument is considered good. uh, in the literature review where you can establish your research as filling a particular gap, or proving it relevant in a particular way. You have some chance to do this in your, when you talk about your, you write your introduction of the problem or the proposal, then you also talk about the gap, research gap. But when you opt, or when you write literature review, then it has to be very descriptive. So you can choose the intellectual lineage you'd like to be part of, and what explanation or interpretations that matter the most to your thinking. But then the argument has to be there. uh, all such gap that has to be there. And then how do you find the relevant literature to the topic? So I mean, finding the relevant literature to your research proposal, it's very important. So you see that whether it has addressed uh, the concepts or the content you are dealing with, or whether your objectives may have been different, but if the content is same, or the objectives or content that may have been same, but the instruments or the methodology can be different. So the best way to do it is to just uh, prepare a list of what you are planning to. So you know you just make a list of the keywords. So start by creating a list of keywords related to your research uh, proposal or problem. So you can definitely have abstract. So try to prepare a list of keywords and include each of the key concepts you are interested in, and list all these concepts or the keywords, and then you move further. Use your keywords to begin searching for sources. Some you obviously there is some disruption. Excuse me. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Audible.
sir. Audible.
But I heard there was some noise. Anyways, and just in between, so that because there is no screen. I mean, I don't know whether I'm in Zoom. It's quite blank. It's quite white. So I'm not sure whether I'm there. In between, if anyone just say ha, so I'll get the message that I am there. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I was just referring about the listing the keywords, how to start. It's very important uh, to make the list of keywords, and then you think about the sources. Nowadays sometimes the problem of plenty is also a problem. So other than the physical library, we have got various sources. You need to be very careful, my dear friends, because when you, I mean, find something related to the keywords or the broader research, you know, proposal, or problem in general, research problem, you need to be very careful about the literature that you are reviewing. You need to know, uh, you know, certain things, because the intent of uh, writing a research paper or writing any piece of research work, you need to know the notion, because just going through 2 3 4 5 6 10, and then you build a perspective, or you try to justify something, and you try to find the gaps. It's very important to understand the piece of writing that you are reading. You are reviewing something. Okay, now see the essence of the word. Before reviewing, by hum review, when do we review? We review I repeat, and you understand, and I would like to have a discussion on this later on. You review. When do you review? When you have a view, when you understand. So, what to understand? What to understand about a particular research work? What you need to understand is, number one, what you need to understand, that whether it somehow or the other, this particular work is related to your research problem. How is it going to help you? How is it going to enhance your understanding? Number one. Number two, uh, whether this piece of work has been, or research has been done with a particular perspective, a particular intent, a particular approach, particular propaganda, particular whatever. So you need to understand, because sorry, because without realizing the intentions and notions, or I don't want to use the word, but without realizing or understanding the propaganda, generally it is not done. But yes, in last uh, 200 years, there have been work with lot of intentions. So you need to understand, if it looks a fair, objective, scientific, rational work, you give your 100% to it. You review it. Now you have a view, even if it is a biased one. Even if it is a biased one, and during your review you find that this the methodology, or whatever the objectives, or the problem itself, or the methodology, or the data, the collection of data, or the population, all such things, wherever you find any observation, you write it down. You just mention. But it would be better to go for a rational work, to review a rational work. And in the process of doing it, you will definitely come across the work which may be biased, or which may have hidden agenda or propaganda. But then, so that is why I'm saying, you need to be very careful about the source. You need to understand, uh, other than your library, or any library, social media, or wherever you, I mean, the online media, when you see. So you need to be very, very, very careful about the source of you know uh, the content that you get. And you need to evaluate, uh, you know through certain parameters. So for each publication, you need to ask that what question or problem is the author addressing. What are the key concepts, and how are they defined? What are the key theories, models, and methods, or perspectives, or concepts that it is dealing with? Does the research use established framework, or take an innovative approach? So you need to have, then what are the results and conclusions of this study? Now, how does the publication relate to other literature in the same field? I'll explain this later on. So what are the strength and weaknesses of the research? So you make sure that the sources you use are credible. Kuch bhi, anything that you just get, and you read, and you review, and you develop a perception, is not right. So it's very important to use the sources. The sources needs to be credible, and make sure you read the any landmark studies, or major theories in your field of research. So then, you after doing this particular thing, you prepare a list of keywords. Then you go for the sources, you identify the sources, and you take care of the credibility of the sources and all. Then you identify the themes, and the debates, and the gaps. So when to begin the organizing your literature reviews, argument and structure, be sure that you understand the connections and the relationship between the sources that you have read. So you need to understand that if you go through certain literature, or certain work, then you have gone through 2 3 research work. So you try to find out the trends or patterns, whether it's about the theory or the methods or the results. So do certain approaches become more or less popular over time? So what kind of trend that you find while doing that research? What kind of uh, common elements that you find? So what questions or concepts that that you see that there is a recurrence across the literature? Is there any key question or any concept that is recurring? So you try to find out all such things, and the commonness of the debates or the conflicts or the contradictions. So is there any any what you call conflict which is reoccurring in most of the literature, or contradictions that reoccurring in most of the literatures? And then also what is missing from the literature? So this step, this process will help you to structure your literature review, and also how you contribute to the existing knowledge, my dear friends. So you know is everything clear, and should I move further, or anything, any of the...
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. So now we
Sir,
we have done all.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah, please.
Sir, I'm Chetna. Sir, you were mentioning about reviewing literature from various sources, but the thing is, like, what is the best timeline that we have to look for? The timeline of the reviews. I'm doing a study.
Hello.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, you asked about the timeline.
Timeline of the reviews, like which I can look for to present in my paper, in my research.
See, you know, it entirely depends on the nature of your research problem or proposal. So if you are writing a research paper or any research work which is quite conventional, so you can take study the older one. But ideally, what I have seen various research works where I have evaluated various research works. When in the year 2023-24, I get a research work which has not updated any research paper of... Hello. So into 2023-24, that research work has not included any published research, any literature after 17 or 18. So it's not good. If you were writing a paper now, so you need to consider all those research which has published in recent years, especially in the last 3 4 years. Yes, if it is a conventional one, the topic, if you are writing about any contemporary issues, so the timeline is obviously of last 4 5 years. But if it is a conventional one, it entirely depends on the kind of research problem that you have. You can go a bit earlier also. So there is, but in any research, that's a good point I think you made. In any research, the latest or the recent literature needs to be incorporated. If you are doing a research now, and writing a proposal or problem or a paper or thesis, whatever research work you do, and that is why literature review is on till we submit our work. So till we send our proposal, before sending, the last day of submitting your thesis or sending your proposal, you can include whatever comes to your way. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So I was just talking about the identifying the themes and debates and the gaps. Now the how to structure your literature, literature review. uh, uh, there are various ways to structure it. I'll go to all these ways in detail later on. because but that is important aspect of literature review, because I just name the ways like chronological, thematic, methodological, or theoretical. These are the you know these are the ways to structure your literature review. So वो chronological आप बनाना चाहते हो, या thematic you want to do it, or you want to it to methodological or theoretical. Uh, Before that, I would just come to the point, like how you start writing, because that is the most uh, I should say
Sir, sorry for the
difficult.
interruption.
Yes.
Sir, sorry for the interruption, as you told us to ask the questions, right? So before going to the further sections, sir.
Yeah.
So yeah, sir, I mean, this is like how to identify a research gap from the review of literature. Although at times it seems like, I mean, whatever study we have done, it is already done. So like there would be a thin line, sir. How to identify that particular thin line, sir?
Which area you belong to? Which subject you belong to?
I belong to sociology, sir.
Okay, very nice. See, if you are, I mean, researching on any aspects, like you talk about in sociology, you take a subject, or you take a research problem like migration, or you take a research problem like mm, uh, the mobile addiction among the youth. Now or the what you call the new media and impact on society and family and individual and all. See, when if you have a broad area like this, that how uh, the media is impacting the family system in the field of sociology. So you will find many books on this, but that is why I told in the very beginning that a research problem has to be based on exhaustive literature review, because it has to be very clear. Now you need to make it very 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 specific. uh, you know you need to understand that a broad area, if you take a broad area for your research problem, then you will always be very it would be difficult to find numerous things that you aspire. So when you study literature, when you study extensive literature, then you understand, okay, many work has been done on this particular aspect of media, which is disturbing the joint family system, or which has created a lot of problems within the family. But this particular aspect, that how using mobile, lot of media is talking about the television or the internet, but spending time on a particular, or lot of literature is talking about mobile, but spending time on a particular application. So no media is I mean, so you then from there you start what you call an understanding, and you develop an understanding. So you need to understand uh, whatever, like migration. So migration has been looked from various perspective. You read lot of literature, but while going through that literature, you all of sudden realize that during corona, how migration has been affected, or how whether media, whether what you call the existing literature talk about it or not. So the more you immerse yourself in the literature on the broad idea, then you develop, or you find that thin line that you are talking about. So it cannot be a superficial work that you just read 2 3 5 literature and you get the gap. First of all, you need to be very clear with what you are uh, you know uh, intending to research for. Once, and just with the broad idea, Dekho, let me be very 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 clear with you. No one can have, no one should, I mean, can, I shouldn't say, but no one should have the exact title or topic before reviewing the literature. In the process of reviewing literature, you come across those thin lines. You understand, once the broad idea is clear, then based on that broad idea, you start reviewing the literature. And during extensive work of literature review, you realize that what is missing, where is the gap. What we generally fail, or what we generally the blunder that some people they make. They decide the title, they decide the topic or problem, and then they go for the literature review. And it's not the right way. I mean, right, wrong, I shouldn't say, but it's not the ideal way. The ideal way is like, there is a subject, you want to do a research uh, on any aspect like migration or whatever, and then you start studying literature. Chalo kis tarah, what kind of work has been done on this? And if you have a little specific aspect on migration, then you think, okay, this particular aspect of migration, from this perspective I want to study. And then you start studying the literature again. While reviewing those literature, you realize, this is missing, this is where this is something which has not been talked about, and then you come up with a research problem. That is the way to do
Yeah,
it.
sorry, sir. In other words, can we put like this, sir? If the same type of research has conducted elsewhere, for instance, in other countries, so can we use those results in India or something like that?
No, no,
Or
no. See, results. No, no. I got you. See. Listen. Results cannot be, definitely cannot be. You see, the perspectives, like I give you a very ideal example of one research problem which may be common, and which is actually common, like use of mobile phone. Impact of using mobile phone on the kids or on the teenagers, or yeah, but common. This is a very common topic across the world. People are searching, but it cannot be same if the you make it different. You talk about the impact of using mobile phone on the kids of Delhi. Now the on the some theoretical uh, things may be common, some but that is why in all the research work, there has to be some quantitative. The moment you go for quantitative work, then you make it a different now. So your population is different, your data is different, your finding would be different. It cannot be the same. And same research problem, there can be various the cause of suicide among the youth in urban areas. Now this what you call trend can be common throughout the world, but the reason would be different in different areas. Or so you have to go for all such things. It cannot be same. The results cannot be same, my dear. It cannot
it's
be.
it's not about the results, sir. Like, can we try the same approach in our country if it is practiced elsewhere? So
No,
I'm
no. See,
talking about the approach, sir.
Osha, you are talking about approach in which context? Approach in which context? I forgot your name. I could, because there is no, I mean, Zoom. What's your name?
Sir, I'm Dr. Pavni, sir.
Okay, Dr. Pavni. So in which context you are talking about the
Uh,
approach?
Sir, in general, when we are building a research gap, sir, we do
Hmm.
extensive research. At times, it looks like
Yes.
the things which I want to research has already researched. So, in that context, like, my if I would take some literature from Western context, and if I would like to apply that in India, then can I
No.
quote this like the same approach has followed elsewhere, and I want to try within this country? That could be one research gap, or it couldn't be.
No, that can be. See, that can be kind of gap that you talk from this perspective, this particular aspects has been dealt in this particular reason. But uh, the you have to understand that particular trend or notion in the context in which you are studying. Approach you can have, theoretical understanding, conceptual understanding you can have. You can have the same theoretical, you can apply the same theory, but you have to understand with with the different perspective where you are studying it. So
Okay.
what he was saying, you can have the theoretical understanding, the conceptual understanding, but then it needs to be supported with the quantitative or the whatever the situation, or that is there where you are studying. Anna?
Okay, sir.
Yes,
Got it.
sir. Sir, thank
Thank
you
you,
so
sir.
much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Sir, there is a request from the participants that we can have the discussion after the class ends. Since there's a great flow in the beginning, so they are feeling that we are stuck in between. So requesting you to continue the class. There's a separate session for question and answer session, sir. So that time we can have the clarifications. So this will be useful for everyone.
Okay. Okay, for
Thank you
that
so much,
I'll
sir.
give. No, I think
Ah,
I think this questions or the concerns
okay,
are very important. So I'll give
okay,
enough
sir.
time for that. But let me just talk about the basics,
Sure.
and then we'll definitely I ensure all the participants that
Okay.
I'll take their concerns and queries.
Yeah.
For sure, as Dr. Bennett mentioned, that it's important to have first the basic conceptual understanding. Then for sure, for that I would give you ample time. Okay,
Thank
all
you,
the
sir. Thank you, sir.
participants.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, you just have as many as queries and concerns as you want, because I will address all those to the best of my understanding, and I appreciate all the participants who have raised their concern. But now we'll take these queries once I
Full Monaco,
just
sir.
go with. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, Mona.
Okay.
Photo. Well,
Yes, Dr.
photo.
Bennett. Dr. Bennett, yes, please mute. Yeah. Okay. So what was the last thing that I mentioned, anyone, before taking up those queries?
Sir, it's you are mentioning about structural way of writing research literature.
Okay, okay. So now these are very very basic things which we need to understand. That like any other academic text, it's very very simple, very easy to say that there has to be introduction, there has to be body, and then there has to be conclusion. But the point is, what to write in the introduction and how to develop those middle part of the review, and then uh, whether the conclusion is actually required or not, and if, then how, what sort of so when you introduce your what do you call uh, literature review, when you write your introduction, then you establish the focus and purpose of the review. You talk about the basic aspects of whatever you have uh, chosen for the study. The introduction that uh, you know is very important, because that also deals uh, with the historical aspect, or anything other than whatever the core research is there, anything related to that particular work, you can write in the introduction. And how long it should be, depending on the length of your literature review. You might, I mean, you may want to divide the body into the subsections. So kai bar kitna bada hoga, ya how many paragraphs you will have, how to structure it entirely depends on the kind of literature that you are reviewing. You can use subheadings for certain themes or time period, or the methodological approach. And then you you can summarize and synthesize I in the beginning I said that any literature review is not just a summary. So literature review, that provides an overview of the main points, uh, and main points of the source, and combine them into a coherent whole. So it's very important. Synthesize ka matlab, it means that you just reshuffling the things with the core research problem that you have. And when we say the coherent manner. Now, if you are writing a literature review, if you are structuring it, so it's very important to take care of the words that you use, my dear friends. Now, words, I mean the words, which means the action verbs that you use. So how do you start, how do you write? So you say that this particular work, or this particular research work, whether the paper or thesis or anything, any published or electronic media. So you use the word, you remember these words, or you try to understand the list of the action verbs are very important. That this particular work is an argument, dash. This particular work is an assumption or a challenge, or it claims to clarify or justify or to establish, or it contends, or it contradicts, or it describes, or it disputes, or it emphasizes, or it recommends, or it refutes, or it rejects, or it establishes, it examines, it finds, it maintains, it notes, it objects, it observes, it persuades, it proposes, it proves, it remarks, it suggests, it supports. These are the words. है ना? थोड़ा ज्यादा हो गया. So you need to use these words. Because nothing comes like random. It describes, it examines, it explains. It has to be like that, and then you build up from there. You use these words. So with the help of these words, you build up from there, and then you write in a coherent manner. Now, what is this coherent manner? Someone needs to mute, because I'm getting some voice. So anyone who is thank you. So how do you can you please mute? So how do you coherent, I mean write in a coherent way? So Dr. Bennett, are you there? Dr. Bennett? Yeah. So how do you make it coherent when you write?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So-
sir. I'm here, sir. Please tell me, sir.
Yeah, I was just getting some noise. So if you can mute
Oh,
everyone.
I'm checking. We are checking there, sir. And one more thing, there is recording is happening. So we are
Okay.
cross-checking, sir. We will take care. We are taking care of that, sir. Please.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
So
Requesting all the participants to mute yourself, so that it
Yeah.
will be avoid the disturbance. Since the resource person is keep on insisting there's a disturbance. Requesting
No,
all
that's
the
fine.
participants, please mute your audio. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So with the words that, and for your reference, if uh, participants, for the participants, I would, because there was some noise, I would like to just repeat the words that I use, the reporting verbs, or the words that you need to consistently use while writing your literature review. So this particular piece of work is an argument, or as an assumption, or it challenges, or it claims, it condemns, it contradicts, it describes, disputes, analyzes, or emphasizes, or recommends, or refutes, or rejects, or it establishes. This work examines. This work is, it is an attempt to find, or it maintains, or it notes, or it objects, or it is an observation, or it persuades, it proposes, it proves, it remarks, it suggests, it support, etc. So, these are the words that you need to consistently, use while writing your literature review. And then I was saying that how do you make it coherent? I see coherency is like, you need to maintain that linkages between two reviews. Like, when you write one particular, the review of one particular work, and the next review you start, like, the first review you started like the work done by this published in this year, or this it explains or analyzes this particular aspect and helps to enhance blah blah blah. And next literature in next with next literature you write that this work or published by this. No, my dear friend, that's not the right way of writing a literature review. That is why I'm talking about the coherency or the coherent manner. So when you write one, then the for the other literature you need to start, uh, you know uh, like, this particular work, or the title this published by this is an attempt, or it examines. For next, however, this one is different from this because of this aspect or this. Now, so you are establishing a kind of correlation. There has to be some sort of coherency between two reviews. It should not the new review should not look like a fresh one. When there is no connection, there is no connectivity. There has to be some connection, there has to be some connectivity, and some consistency, some coherency, some continuity of the point that, whatever you are writing. So if you are reviewing a literature review, on migration, so different aspects that needs to be correlated. There cannot be, and it should not be, a flat introduction of all the literature. There has to be some correlation. That that's very important, which we generally don't do it in our writing. That correlation establishes what, that you have the clear understanding of your research problem. Plus, it also reflects that you have done an extensive literature review, which you understand, and which you correlate with the work that has been done in the same area with a different approach. Because just collecting the literature from different sources and writing it does not make sense, and it has of no value. So when you correlate, when you write in a coherent manner, then it makes sense that, okay, it is not merely a summary of, or it is a collection of different literature. It is, something that the person, the researcher has understood the various aspect in the same field, or the different aspects which emerge in the same field. So all such things, because you remember it. Literature review is not merely reviewing something. Literature review is also an effort to correlate correlate different literatures on the same problem. And how one particular work is different from the other work, and also how does these two different works, how do these two different works enhance your understanding, whether it updates, or it provides you a different idea, a fresh idea altogether. So that is how literature review, you need to write your literature review. Don't forget to be coherent between the sentences, and coherent between the paragraphs. So that coherency needs to be achieved, that consistency needs to be achieved. Many times when you read a literature review, you find that for the same literature, the first paragraph doesn't have any contact with the second paragraph, and which raises the question on the credibility of the work. So just by going through the literature review, any person, whether you submit your research proposal or you submit your thesis, the concerned evaluator will come to know the credibility of the work with the way you have done your literature review, the way you write, the way you structure your literature review. It's very important. It's very important to be very precise, very very coherent, to establish the correlation between the two sentences or the two paragraphs or whatever you write. And it should reflect that you have the clear understanding about the literature that you are writing. You may write anything about that literature, any particular aspect which you could not find anywhere and you find in one literature, you may highlight. You just talk about that aspect, or kuch, you don't write anything about that particular work. You have the luxury of explaining, or you have the luxury of structuring it if you understand it. So if you have understood, then you have the luxury, and you know you can write the way you want. But then the correlation is very important. Okay. So now let's and in the conclusion, you need to summarize all those findings or the understandings that you had, and also the significance that you could realize. You may write all such things in the conclusion. But then be sure that how your research addresses the gaps, need to highlight that, and how it contributes the new knowledge, or discuss how you have drawn on existing theories and methods to build a framework for your research. So that is very important. uh, Many times, when you read, because you write literature review when once you are through with the reading. So you need to understand that whatever I just discussed, the way you write it, it entirely depends on one thing, that how do you read. So the way, how do you go through a literature, how do you see, how do you observe a particular literature. So that approach of in-depth examination of the text. So when you read or when you go through a particular literature, it's very important to have an active approach. Like you have that analytical, critical approach all the time. Flat reading nahi karte, just don't do that flat reading of any literature. That doesn't develop any understanding, that doesn't help you. So it's very important to have that critical, analytical, in-depth examination of whatever the text that you are reading or anything that you observe for literature review. So you need to, you also try to just break that text. So the text is broken down into components and examined critically in order to achieve a meaningful understanding of the material. So until unless you break those texts, until unless you apply those analytical skills, you will not be able to write the way I just mentioned. How do you establish the how do you correlate when you read critically. So that critical reading is very important in order to achieve what we discussed. And how do we read critically in order to write critically. So we preview it. We just make a note of everything. Then we also try to raise as many as queries that we have. So just very conventional way of analytical reading will help you to write a very good literature review. So just don't and when you do it, then you will find the gaps. You will be able to understand the thin lines that we were just talking about. So you develop that techniques of critical reading, my dear friends, very important to have that approach of critical reading. Otherwise, even if you go through a very important literature which can help on your research problem, but if you don't have that technique of critical reading, it will have of no use. So it's very important to 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 uh, to just choose a question to or generate a lot of questions, and then you also look at and examine the author's argument. You try to understand what argument the author is trying to make, and what claims that, or what assumptions that the because author, whatever the literature that you are reviewing, uh, the author will definitely have some assumptions or some claims or some argument or some sort. You try to understand what is the assumption, what are the claims, or what are the arguments. Try to understand that. You also try to understand that this particular literature has this many assumptions or claims or arguments. So do you have the other literature which has the same sort of arguments? So try to find out the consistencies, the consistent and the similar studies, and then you synthesize. So how does that each reading relate to your topic and purpose? Try to uh, have that understanding. uh, so critical approach is very important while reading. You go through landmark studies, and if you don't have that approach, you will not be able to write your literature review. You will not be able to make justice to the literature review that you are doing. So you know um, the word, the word I mentioned, that you need to you need to use these words. And this is a very basic thing, that you also need to use that, what kind of verb tenses. So generally in present tense you write. I have seen some literature review people also, they don't mind the kind of grammar that they are using. Some sentence in past tense, some sentence in present tense, some sentence is like, you need to be consistent. You need to be consistent with the style that you are opting. So generally, ideally, all the literature review, you should write that present tense. So this particular work highlights or analyzes, as I mentioned in earlier. So that is how. And if you do all such things, then you find in the books that good literature generally, a good literature review, what are the qualities of a decent good literature review, and uh, you know generally an evaluator uh, looks for. So a good literature review is focused, is very concise, precise, logical, developed, integrative, and current. These are the words that needs to be explained. But I'll rather than explaining this word, I just go through the other aspects and will take your queries. And if time permits, then I'll explain those words, that the traits of a good literature review. Uh, you know, and the there are some concepts also. See how to review the conceptual things. I'll also talk about it, but you know before that, let me just share uh, two three things, and then I'll take some queries. uh, in any literature review, the common mistakes that generally we make, that too much, we come up with too much data and too much information. So too much data is not good. uh, you see, if there is too much data and information, especially when there is no clear connection and correlation between the different studies, so you lose your credibility, and you also lose the importance of your work. So uh, it's not important that how much information or how many literatures that you have chosen. What is important is that how have you correlated all those literature that you have chosen. That is important. So that one mistake that we make, and the other mistake, too little data. So too much data is a problem, and then too little data is also a problem. So although it all depends on the kind of research problem that you have, but then it is often incorrectly assumed that the evaluator they know the field and scientific issues being discussed, so you don't need to provide more or much. So be careful not to make such logics. You need to have a good balance between too much and too little data. So that is very important. Generally you don't notice it, but it happens. If you look at it scientifically, you will realize that generally, not all the time and everybody, but most of the time, um, you know it happens. And then the other mistake that we generally used to make, that we are not clear about exactly what your study will contribute to the literature. So just have a clarity, as I mentioned, that through those critical studying and all, you will have uh, you know uh, clarity of what you are writing. And then avoid personal anecdotes. So in literature review, we need to avoid those personal anecdotes, like uh, any sign. We need to be objective. We need to have that scientific method. Although I mentioned that argumentative style, we should have argumentative style, but our method should be scientific. So we should if you have completed a pilot study, and you might consider adding some of the possible outcomes, but rather say, you I mean don't be personal, or don't your writing reflects your emotions or your personal anecdotes, which sometimes which should not be the case. Your writing should not reflect your emotions or your personal anecdotes. uh, you know so and you need to consistently re-evaluate or rewrite most of the times. You stick to the cited articles. Now there are it is said that there are some C's, ABC C's. There are some C's which help you to write you know your literature review in a scientific manner. So those C's are like cite, compare, contrast, critic, connect, concise, construct, check. So I'll explain it. But before that, I would like to have some queries, and a lot of queries actually, because that will help you. So for time being, for some time, I open this forum for the participants.
Good evening, sir. I am Dr. Ramesh from Modi University, Rajasthan.
Good evening.
Sir, I am an assistant professor in sociology. Sir, I
Great.
have a very particular question, that how can we judge that a particular study is a landmark study or not? Sir, this is my question.
See, it's not we that or it's not right to straight away say, because you that is why honesty is very important. When you do a literature review, suppose you
Yes.
give any subject, so any research problem that you are working, so
Sir.
if yeah so see, if you do extensive literature review on a particular what you call uh, particular research problem.
Research problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you don't find many work from a different perspective that you are looking for, and all of a sudden you find a work which has covered all those perspectives which you have in your mind, or which you are aspiring to find. So again, it can be landmark from your perspective, but a landmark study is which has been referred by many people, which has been quoted by many people, which has been reviewed by. In ideal situation, that is a landmark study, that a landmark work is generally widely accepted, widely discussed, widely appreciated, widely acknowledged, all such things. That is a landmark, but landmark work. But when you, at personal level, you are going through different literature from a different set of queries on a particular research problem, and you think that to this particular research problem these queries need to be addressed, and in the midst of those many literature you find one literature which has almost all those, which tries to address all those queries, then you think that from this perspective, for this sets of queries, this is a landmark. But a landmark study is generally widely discussed, widely accepted, widely acknowledged. That is a landmark study. Is that clear? Is that clear? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Acha. So I couldn't get the response. Yeah, any other query?
Sir, actually, good evening, sir. Thank you for the session. I'm Bhagyavati HR, IT Sociology in a government college in Karnataka. You are telling that it is not necessary to read each and everything, but you should have a perspective like what to review and what not to. In that case, you have to see whether that work is rational and genuine. So until and unless we read it or we do the review, how can we know whether it is genuine or rational? That is my first
No.
question.
Yeah. See, I think did I mention that you don't need to read the entire stuff? Yes, in some cases, just by going through some parts of that literature, you may have that notion. But ideally or generally, you should go through the entire literature, or the entire work. Ideally, it's not good that just have partial view, or just have superficial view of the literature. It's not good. In ideal situation, you should go through the entire literature, so that and in some cases, if you find some literature that this is not relevant for your study or for your research problem, then straight away you can just leave that. But ideally, you should go, once you find that this particular work is objective one, or is less biased. Once you buy, see, how can we understand whether a work is objective or less biased? There are certain things. You look at the sources. uh, you will definitely have some idea about the sources. Then you also look at the title, or the words, or the approach that is used. So all such things will give you an idea, that whether you need to go through the entire work. And once you are convinced from all perspective what we discussed, then ideally you should go through the entire work for a literature review.
So it's suggested that we have to go through everything and then we have to choose which is relevant and genuine. At that
Yes,
part,
yes,
at that
yes,
stage,
yes.
we have to.
Yes. Once again, I would say, once you, whatever the parameters I discussed, all those parameters, once you are convinced that this work is objective, credible, genuine, then you go through the entire stuff. And it also helps you to enhance your understanding on the research problems, a research proposal that you have opted. Then you go through the entire one. Okay.
Yes, sir. And also, you're telling to use the action verbs, and we have to be very careful. We have to do the objective study without being
Yes.
biased by anything. So, do we have the liberty of critically analyzing any work while we are writing the thing?
See, again, that's a very good point that you made. I really appreciate. There is a very thin line, while evaluating anything critically, or while evaluating anything critically, or become with a little what you call judgmental or personal. So you evaluate critically, but listen it carefully. You evaluate it critically, but it should not look that that is your personal view. If you have a different perspective and different view, then you refer the other literature which is in contrast to that. I mean, your personal opinion should not be there. Are you getting my point?
Yeah, like instead of you putting in your own direct words, you can make the comparative study, taking that as a base
Yes,
of justification to
exactly.
endorse
Exactly.
your word or your opinion. That's what you're trying
Yes,
to say,
yes,
right?
yes, yes, absolutely. Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, that is a very good point that you made, and I would just like to share with all the participants, all the uh, you know uh, uh, persons, that it's very important to refrain yourself from individual or personal opinion when you are writing the literature review. Whatever you have to say, you say it through the other literature, that is because in an examination, when your teacher asks you to review a literature, then you have a different perspective. But when you are doing it for a research work, then the personal opinion should be avoided. Okay. Any other good question? Any other queries?
Good
Thank
evening,
you so much.
sir.
Good
Yeah.
evening, sir.
Good
My
evening.
name is Muskan Jain. I'm a beginner in this field in the proposal writing. I want to ask that how many literature review should we do before writing about it?
It entirely depends. See, lot of things that depends on the research problem that you have. It entirely depends. There cannot be any fixed number of literature that you need to go through. It all depends on the kind of research problem that you have, and for that and that is why then the role of the guide and the mentor, they can guide you depending upon if you take a very common subject, then you need to go through a lot of literature review. But if your research problem is unique itself, I mean, the research problem where I mean, very difficult to have published work, so you definitely will have less. So it all depends on the kind of research problem that you have. There cannot be, and there shouldn't be any fixed number of literature that particular research problem that you need to have. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sir, but before enrolling for PhD, we have to make a research proposal.
Yes.
Now, how guide will help us? Like, I don't have any guide.
Okay. So I mean, I think that this is the not the right forum to discuss about the research proposal for PhD. But yes, you can get my number from Dr. Bennett, and then depending upon your research area or research problem, I can guide you. This is not the right forum, but yes, you can get the number from Dr. Bennett. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yes.
Good
Any
evening,
other
sir.
query?
Good evening. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Regarding that, some contemporary research work, for example, disaster or some problems related to the common interest. So with this kind of research topics, we don't get proper books. So how can I write that review of literatures?
That's a that's a problem, for so many topics where you don't find literature. Then how do you conduct, how do you do the research? See, literature, that is why in the very beginning, if you remember, and I repeat, for all of you, in the very beginning I mentioned that it's very important to have a very clear understanding about what are the literature. So once you do literature review, write literature review, then you need to have the understanding about the literature. That is why I told that we generally think that books and journals. No, my dear friends, books, journals, conference papers, then I mean the stuffs on internet, then all those official documents, the government reports, the magazine, newspapers, all such things are part of literature which can be reviewed. So if there is no book, there is no research paper, then there are these many things that you can look. Still, if you don't find, because like you mentioned about disaster and other things, you will find a lot of government reports on disaster, a lot of government records on that. You can see to it. And if the other way, like in some other I mean, for some other subjects, if there is no literature available, then based on whatever the that is why, again, you remember I said that make a list of the words. They do go through some allied words which can be directly or indirectly related to that field, and then you try to understand, and then you try to write from that uh, you know uh, perspective. This is how you can get the literature. Third, I mean, in some other cases, like very difficult to get literature, go for the primary data. Go for the primary data, the quantitative study, the research, because then you will say that it's very difficult to conduct a research since there is no literature available. Go for the primary data. That is what most of the scientific research is done based on the primary data. So and then but that is the other way. Ideally, if you don't find the books or the research papers, uh, as you mentioned, contemporary. So
Online
generally
class.
contemporary issues. Yeah, so generally
Online class.
contemporary.
வீட்டுக்கு வந்தா எனக்கு class.
So for contemporary things, you will find a lot of stuffs on all such things, newspapers, magazines, government records and all. Yeah. Okay, good query.
One more question. One more question.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
plan
yeah.
to write book review. Means what are the ideas
Sorry.
or what are the steps to follow?
Sorry, can you just repeat? You were not clearly audible. Yes.
If I plan to write a book review.
Oh, book review. Okay. What did you ask? Can you just repeat, please? Not audible. Yes, anyone else?
Sir, can
Hello,
I?
hello. Can you hear me now, sir?
Now I can hear. Yeah, please.
Yes. If I plan to write a book review,
Uh,
what are the major steps I have to follow, sir?
See,
Just
if you want
read
to,
all books.
no, see, no. If you want to, review a book, or want to, write a book review, then ideally, see, you try to find out the basic thing that book tries to cover. So you highlight that, how many chapters that book has, how the book has been structured, what new thing has been highlighted, or what any specific angle on the existing knowledge or existing problem that the book has highlighted. What is the ultimate purpose of writing that book? All such things. So you can, in a nutshell, you can talk about the gist of the book, or you can analyze the book chapter wise. If the book has chapters, so you can you can review the book chapter wise also. Okay, so you, depending upon your research problem and the research format that you are reviewing, you can provide the entire gist of the book in one paragraph with the whatever I mentioned, the element, or you can write the review of the book chapter wise. But then what is the thing that, what is the new thing, or what is the different thing that the book is trying to address, what is the core idea behind it, and all such, how does it help to the existing knowledge on that particular subject on which it had been written, all such things you need to mention. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sir, this is again Dr. Pavni, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, like I'm from University of Hyderabad, sir, Department of Sociology.
Okay.
Right now, I'm working as a postdoctoral fellow, sir.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, my question is, sir, like, why do we always have to substantiate our arguments with review of literature or either secondary data? I just want to try to understand, is it unethical to write our opinions, arguments, or perspectives just like that, or opinions or views are not valid?
Very interesting thing that you raised. I appreciate the way you think and the way you look at the things. See, conventionally, conventionally you try to understand when we say article, then we have got a different perspective. When we say a research article or research work, we have a different perspective. And what you were saying, if you do that, then that will be opinion article. And in every day in all the newspapers, you find opinion article. So see, if your piece of, please listen it carefully, if your piece of writing is dominated by or influenced by the opinion, the personal views or opinion, then it will be opinion article. You shouldn't have any problem. But if it is a research article, then you need to refer others. It's as simple as that. But you were saying it's a research article. Research article cannot be based on opinion, personal opinion. Research matlab it has to be referred. So once you refer, once you write research article or research or research, PhD thesis or whatever research you are doing, it has to be based on the reference. But whatever you are saying is right, you do that. In that case, it will be opinion article for which you need to get a newspaper to get it published. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. I mean, a minor thin line doubt, sir, again. Sorry for the interruption, sir. So after doing extensive research also, we formulate our own opinions, right, sir? Can't we put that in a research article, at least at the end of the article, somewhere around the conclusion?
See, so, I mean, you need to, somehow or the other you can, but then you go by the, as I mentioned, you go by the format now. You go by the notion or the aspiration of the format. If the format does not allow, if format, you have got different thing. And when you write, when you do any research, then in the conclusion you you just talk about whatever the findings that you have. So findings में तो लिखते ना.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that is how.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Got it, sir. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Welcome.
Okay.
Yes, anyone else? That is why I just I had a lot of other things to explain. As far as those technical aspect of literature review, but I just talked the basic things, and I wanted to have the queries because I find these queries are more fruitful. So some of the questions are very good, very very thought provoking, and people, they are pondering over. I am quite glad to see it. Good. Yes, anyone else?
So, may I speak?
Your voice is not clear. I mean, it's not audible. It's
Am I
breaking.
audible now, sir?
Yes, you are audible now. Yeah.
Good evening, sir. My name is Bharat Soni. I am a research scholar from Central University of Gujarat. So,
Okay. Fantastic.
my question is that how to establish the connectivity or flow when writing the literature review. That is the problem I'm currently facing right now, like establishing a flow from introducing to establishing the research that have been done already and then getting to the gaps?
See, it's very important, my dear friend. It's very important to understand before you write. So it's very important that you understand what you are, going to write. So you review a particular piece of work. You find out what is the gist of it. What is the core thing that it is trying to highlight. You write about it, then you review the other piece, and then first, before writing anything, first you try to immerse yourself, and that is why I talked about the critical reading. So the moment you understand it critically, you will be able to correlate with the with the different works. As I mentioned, that how do you achieve that coherency between the two sentences and two paragraphs? Once you understand the subject, once you understand what you are writing, so whatever the literature related to your research problem, research area, research proposal, whatever you were studying, you were writing, you try to understand that the piece of stuff that you are reading, have that critical reading. So once you understand, before writing, once you understand, only then you will be able to correlate it. So it's very important. And with the different phrases, you write one literature review, and you review one literature, and then for the other literature, if you have the understanding and if you have found something new in the other literature, then you correlate with some phrases like, however, this particular work is an attempt to, now you are just trying to say some different point from the earlier work. So with the clarity of understanding, and with the choosing right kind of phrases and words, you can easily correlate the things. Okay.
Understood, sir. Thank you.
Sir, very good. Good evening, sir. My question is, some topics are very common. For example, sir,
Yes.
a tribal. In that condition, what type of literature review should be focused?
You mentioned about tribal. Huh? What? Uh,
Yes, sir.
what?
Yes, sir.
Can you tribal? So, for what kind of literature review for tribal? That's what you were asking.
Sir. Sir, there are many books on so many review literature, sir. Then, in that condition, what type of
Okay.
literature review should be focused, sir?
See, okay. Now, for such aspects, first of all, you need to, see what kind of research problem that you have chosen on tribal. Number one. But it does not mean that you need to focus on the literature, only those literature which directly or indirectly address to your research problem. So what you do in the field of tribal studies, as some of the participant one of the participant mentioned, the landmark work. So in the field of tribal studies, you go through those landmark work or the literature which is considered very and you just develop an understanding about the particular tribal that you are going to research. That a general, a common understanding on the tribals, then a specific understanding on that particular tribal that you are talking about, and then again the specific problems or specific things that you are trying to address, then you come to it. So you narrow it down. Generally what happens, you start in many such research. We all participants, please listen it carefully. We in many cases, we make it from very very broad to narrow. So if for example, any aspect of what you call tribal, you try to study, you need to come from broad to narrow. So broad, you review some literature which is generally, I mean, landmark in the field of tribal studies. Then you come to that tribal, so you again narrow it to a particular tribal which you are studying. Then you narrow it to the particular problem of tribal, and then all such things. So that is how, in a very common topic, we need to go from broad to narrow. That is how we need to build up. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Dr. Bennett.
Yes, sir.
More queries? Are we expecting? But
Yes. So dear
I'm not
participants,
able to. I am not able to see any. I mean, the Zoom is not working or what? But I'm out of it. I'm connected, but I cannot see, or I cannot. I mean, but it's working. That is important. We are connected. That is important. Are
yes,
we
sir, you are
expecting
connected,
more?
sir, and even the live streaming
Okay.
also going perfect.
Okay, live streaming. Okay, fantastic. Are we expecting more questions?
No,
Good
sir,
evening,
no,
sir.
sir.
Good
Yeah,
evening, sir. I am audible.
yeah,
Yes,
you are
yes,
very
you're
much
audible.
audible.
You're audible.
Good evening, sir. Myself, Dr. Rashi Chatterjee from Chhattisgarh. Sir, my question is, what is the difference between overview of literature and review of literature? Review, you have nicely explained. So I just want to know what is the need of overview of literature in any research work?
No, I mean, where did you find this overview of literature?
Sir,
Anyways, let me just tell you. See, overview is a precise, common gist of anything. Is a summary of any overview is a very common gist of anything. But review is a particular critical analysis of a particular thing. Are you getting my point? that
yes,
is the
sir.
difference between that is the difference between overview and review. Overview is just a general,
Macro
you know
aspect.
yes, and review. And when you review something, overview,
Hmm.
what is your overview about? Yeah, what is your overview about this? There is a general, very concise, very precise, I mean, very concise general overview summary. But
Okay.
review, then you talk about the things, you analyze it analytically. Okay.
In a micro perspective. Review is the micro
In a
thing and
micro,
overview is the macro one.
but see, it's not that simple. Just by saying that it is a micro, that microscopic view needs to have analytical angle, analytical approach.
Hmm.
When you review something, then your approach has to be critical and analytical. Khali microscopic nahi, it doesn't work. Microscopic, yes, microscopic is right, but the approach has to be analytical and critical. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Sir,
Yes,
it's
yes.
Bhagirathi again. You are telling about to follow a methodology while writing it. Whenever you're writing, there should be coherence and also consistency between one work to the other work. And you're stressing some points like it should be either chronological or this one conceptual or theoretical. Can you please enlighten us on that once again? We should follow
See,
a methodology.
no, we need to, I mean, when I was talking about the methodological part, I mentioned that when we structure our literature review, we need to highlight, uh, you know, uh, the methodology, or which methodology has been not adopted. But when we structure, when we structure our writing our literature review, then chronological, that means that to just trace the development of the topic or the subject over the time. So that is how we structure it chronologically. Then I talked about, the thematic. So, if you find something which recurs, which is recurring, then recurring themes, then you can organize your literature review into subsections that addresses, different aspects of topic. So, then methodological was, if you draw your sources from different disciplines or fields which use variety of research methods, then you want to compare the results and conclusion which emerge from different approaches. So, this is methodological. And then theoretical, when a literature review is the foundation for a theoretical framework, so you can use it to discuss various theories, models, definitions, or key concepts. Okay, that's what I was talking about.
So it's just that arrangement of things in a proper way,
Yes, yes,
in a
yes.
segregation according to the timeline or a theme wise like that, or theoretical wise.
Yes, yes,
That's
yes,
what
yes.
you meant. Okay, okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Netma. Good evening,
Okay.
sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I have a question. I know you're exhausted, sir. I'm so sorry.
No, no,
But
no, no. Please
you-
carry on. Yeah.
Sir,
Please.
thing is, I'm Taruna. I belong to a clinical psychology department. So, sir, I
Oh,
wanted to know that
lot of research. No, before you, before you ask, can you tell me the reason why lot of research is being done nowadays in clinical psychology? What is the reason behind it?
sir, I think there is a growing epidemic of problems, mental health issues, and we have a lot of research on the mental health issues.
Okay, now
Everybody into
okay,
a
okay,
lot of
you come up
uh,
with your queries first, then yeah.
yes, sir. So my question is, sir, I have two unrelated variables that I want to study, and there are no studies done as such previously on those two unrelated variables. Now, how do I connect it in my literature review? Because there are no researches done on those two unrelated variables.
See, when I'll just say a very important thing for all of you before making such a statement. What's your name?
Sir, I'm Taruna.
Taruna. See, Taruna, before making such a statement, be very, 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 very careful. What did you say? No research has been. How can you say that no research has been done?
Sir, we've done. I've run through a lot of papers in
Still,
search of things.
still, still. Before making such a statement, you may be right. I'm not saying that you were wrong. You may be right, but before saying it, that no research has been done. Rather, you may say that very little research, because it's very difficult to find out or to establish the fact that no research had been done. First, you be very sure. And how can be now you should ask, how can you be sure about it, that whether whether no research has been done? You consult the big database library, write it to them, ask them, consult your mentor, supervisor, and just have a discussion on this, and whatever the possible ways, you first confirm whether any research has been done or not. That's my
Sir,
suggestion.
I
Okay.
understand what you're trying to say. I've done by far, tried relating two different aspects of two different things. So my thing is, uh, even in the deepest imagination, you've not had such a thought of relating two variables of that sort. So if you have something like that, can it be possible that a literature review, you can put a few studies on the first variable and then a few studies on the second variable and then find a connecting point.
Yes,
Can that
yes,
happen?
that's what. Yes, that's what you said it. That's what.
Okay, sir.
That is
Okay.
that is how you can do it. But still, Taruna, two things. First, before making such a statement that no research has been done, you never know. Uh, I say that you may, I mentioned, I said that you may be right by saying that no research has been done. You may be right, but still, you should take proper, some, at least some reference that this database library or this particular thing that says that no research has been done. One. Two, yes, any particular aspect, there is nothing existing on this earth that has not been, what you call searched. That is why we are researching everything. So there is nothing which has not been covered. Yes, it may not be directly to what you were saying, that in the deepest, thought that cannot come someone's mind, but some other aspect of what has come to your mind, some other aspect of it, can be reviewed on that particular literature. Okay, so that's how you can see it. Okay, is that fine?
Right, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello,
Please
sir.
carry on.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. So this is Rutu, and sir, I have a question, sir. So my question is that how were the extracted data organized and summarized in the literature review? Should I include the tables, figures, and thematic analysis in the review? Because as you mentioned that previously, that the review should be concise and focused. So should I use this?
Yes, depending upon, yes, depending upon the need of the research problem, and if it is very important, then why not? You may include it, but again, you have to see the relevance of it as per the spirit of your research problem. If it allows, then you can go up with it.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes, Dr. Bennett.
Yes. So thank you so much, sir. And yes, dear participants, hope you are enjoyed today's session. Successfully, we have completed 2 days. Still, we have 5 more days. Requesting you to cooperate for all the remaining 5 days. Sincerely, at outset, I have to thank Professor Subhash sir. He has given a great explanation, right? And in this modern days, we used to do with lot of tools and techniques, but he is the one who has given a clear-cut information based on the theoretical frameworks in a structured pattern, right? He has rightly pointed out that the research is a systematic process, has to be done in a structured way. So hope you have understand, hope you have enjoyed today's session. Thank you so much for your valuable participation. Not only
Yeah.
participation, and the people are asking a number of queries, and the resource person also good enough in addressing all your queries in a systematic way. So thank you so much, sir, for
Yeah.
giving your
Dr.
time
Bennett,
for us.
I really appreciate, and I think some of the points which I earlier, before this session, I wanted to discuss in detail, but looking at the intent and the nature of queries that I got, so I am quite happy to see the queries from the participants, and so I appreciate their involvement and their I mean the queries. I also appreciate Dr. Sanjay Tiwari and Dr. Bennett, and all the organizers who just invited me for this session. It's been great interacting with all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much,
Thanks.
dear participants. See you all tomorrow.